The IRS is going to be rich, and you should be happy about it. Remember when the IRS requested and obtained $80 billion from the federal government to do things like improving services and replace personnel that was leaving, but most importantly, to go after the super wealthy in America who had not paid their tax bill and want to benefit from your labor, but then decided to conveniently pass on sharing the tax burden with you? If you do, you might also remember that at the time, the GOP reacted so angrily that their faces melted off faster than the guards in the final scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark. This included people like Senator Ted Cruz, who was forced to stop sipping tequila in Cancun long enough to write a tweet like this, where he said that there was a shadow army of agents that the IRS had hired to come after people like you. And also people like Marjorie Taylor Greene here, who took out her fanciest Etch-a-Sketch to tell you that the money would be used to get agents to access your account if you spent more than $28. Of course, whether those messages are coming from a beach in Mexico or a Proud Boys family reunion, they're both unfounded and disingenuous. But it looks like we now know what the IRS has been doing with that money and how it's been working. Some of it, of course, went to replace people that were leaving the force. Some of it, as promised, and as you might know from a video I did in the past, was used to reduce things like wait time and make your experience better. But here is, I think, the most important news. The IRS has announced that that funding has already resulted in $500 million in collections from wealthy taxpayers who forgot to pay their taxes. And this is only 6 months after the new funding started flowing, because the agency is forecasting hundreds of billions more in collected dollars from ultra-rich corporations and individuals over the next several years. Add to it an economy that has already recovered all of the jobs lost during COVID and has been adding new jobs on top of that every month for the past 17 months in a row, and stock indices that seem to be absolutely unstoppable. It looks like Dark Brandon here is doing something right. Of course, the GOP doesn't want you to know any of that. You know why? Because their donors are the very people that the IRS is now going after. This can be explained by one reason and one reason only. The people that want to cut the funding are sponsored by the very people who want you to foot their tax bill.